I do want to address this legislation, as I think is draconian in its overreach, and we have had statements from the Garda Commissioner, as Deputy Tobin has alluded to, who said there was absolutely no need for this legislation. We already had it. And this bill introduces new offences concerning the aforementioned as a prohibited conduct and implements a system of escalating penalties. It grants enforcement powers to Garda Síochána, including the ability to issue warnings with a criminal conviction resulting in a fine of up to 2,500 and or up to 6 months in prison for third and subsequent offence, Section 5(3), which is a prerequisite for committing an offence under this legislation. Nevertheless, it is essential to acknowledge that this extensive legislation encroaches upon individuals' rights and raises concerns regarding the suppression of free speech. Totally, as far as I'm concerned, resembling elements of fascism. Restricting protests near abortion facilities can be viewed as infringement on civil liberties and undermining of democratic values. Any support of democratic principles, and we all proclaim to be here, should distance themselves from this legislation, as it represents a direct assault on people's rights to pray, express conscientious objections and protect their beliefs. The bill primarily aims to stifle open discourse within a democracy, which is deeply concerning. It is crucial to recognise the importance of preserving the space for diverse opinions and maintaining democratic ideals that foster a thriving society. The introduction of the bill not only curtails the right to protest and pray, but also sets a dangerous precedent by restricting fundamental liberties in material that echoes oppressive regimes of the past. And it beggars belief that we're introducing this kind of legislation. And we see what's going on today, talking about in the Middle East and all over the country, in the world, and many parts of the world, and we proclaim to be supporters of freedom and democratic principles. It is imperative to remember that a vibrant democracy thrives on free exchange of ideas and the ability of citizens to peacefully voice their opinions. The legislation, however, undermines these principles by expressing dissenting voices and limiting the expression of deeply held beliefs. And surely we are entitled to have deeply held beliefs in this country, in Ireland, in 2023. The right to protest and the freedom to express one's religion are pillars of a democratic society. By eroding these rights through restrictive measures, we risk sliding down a slippery slope towards an authoritarian regime. And we do, I honestly believe that. The introduction of safe access zones may be seen as a response to concerns raised by stakeholders and research that highlight the negative impact of protests of individuals seeking or providing information of pregnancy services. However, it is essential to ensure that any legislative measures taken are proportionate, balanced, and respect the fundamental rights of all citizens. Appropriate and balanced and respect the rights of all citizens. We must be cautious not to create a chilling effect on freedom of expression and the right to peaceful assembly. Balancing these rights is a debate, is a delicate task that requires careful consideration, extremely careful consideration. The potential criminalisation of individuals who engage in prohibited conduct within safe access zones raises questions about the proportionality of the penalties. We must ensure that any sanctions imposed are just, moderate and reasonable. So I don't believe this is. This is totally overreach. Any area or any town, for instance, I have proudly marched down O'Connell Street many times with thousands of citizens of Ireland who are believe firmly in the right to life and pro-life, and God knows If our mothers terminated our lives, we wouldn't be here at all, and that's a chilling effect as well. And to think now that those actually freedom of democratically expressed rights to march down the main street in our capital could be, under this legislation, prohibited, because we'll be within 100 metres of certain facilities. And indeed, in any town or village. This is bonkers. That you could inadvertently be walking down the street, not knowing there was a facility, a medical facility that offered abortion services, even doctor's surgery. That the march could be interrupted and stopped. So this is an outrageous, preposterous thought. And to think that we would allow that and we would pass that into legislation is bizarre. It's grotesque. And I can't find words to describe it. It's a total overreach from this House here if we pass this, and I believe it will be passed. And I think that it's repugnant. It's repugnant to the Constitution. Certainly repugnant to me and my values, and tens of thousands of people out there. And the people who voted in the repeal the 8th Amendment didn't vote for this. They didn't vote for this. There was three-card trick that was sold to the pub. They didn't vote for this. In any shape, maybe a limited number did, but the vast majority didn't. So they were sold to pub and they were misled. I think this government here would continue under your watch minister to do this. Is preposterous. It's outrageous that pro-life organisations, people who give solace to people and want to preserve life and give advice, not menacing or threatening. If they were doing that, they shouldn't be doing it. And the Gardaí have powers under existing legislation to stop them from doing that and to arrest them if they didn't desist. Those powers are there. And the Garda Commissioner, who we criticise often enough, has come out and said he has the powers. His members have the powers. But no, we want to be leaders here in preposterous legislation, and on the other hand we'll be shouting tonight about Gaza and voting for freedom of expression and rights, and we want to destroy and diminish the rights that P.H. Pearce, the men of 1921 and 23, fought for freedom of this country, and this is the kind of freedom we want. It's outrageous. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Deputy.